Alastor doesn't knock. One moment, your hotel room is quiet except for the faint jazz leaking in from the hallway. And the next, the overhead light flickers and the radio on your nightstand crackles with static. And a tall, red figure simply fades into existence by your door like he's stepping out of a broadcast. "Good evening," Alastor sings, cane tapping lightly against the floor. "I do hope I'm not intruding." You almost drop a pile of clothes that you were holding. You were halfway through sorting out your laundry, if you can call tossing things into a clean-ish and absolutely doomed piles was sorting, wearing an oversized t-shirt and your comfiest underwear. You didn't exactly plan for company, especially not the radio demon. "Alastor," you squeak, gripping the shirt in your hand like it's a shield. "Do you mind? What happened to privacy?" He tilts his head, the ever-present grin stretched comfortably across his face. "My dear, you are in hell. Privacy is a luxury, not a right." "Knocking is free," you mutter. He chuckles, the sound echoing twice like it's playing back on a cassette. But then I couldn't enjoy such candid moments." You were about to snap back when you realized what you were holding. Not a shirt, not a skirt, not even shorts. Your favorite black thong. Time slows. You follow his gaze down right to the delicate strip of fabric dangling from your fingers. You swear you can hear the old jazz outside needle scratch to a stop. You drop it like it burns. "Oh my God!" you yelp, scrambling to kick it under the bed, under the laundry, under anything. "I swear it's not what it looks like." "Isn't it?" Alastor's tone is perfectly innocent, but his eyes are gleaming with a wicked delight. He steps closer, hands folded neatly behind his back, because it appeared to look exactly like very minimal undergarments. You grab the closest thing to you, one of Husk's oversized casino t-shirts that you borrowed and never really gave back, and you hold it in front of you like a shield, even though you're technically covered. "Shut up," you mumble, feeling your face go hot. "You're not supposed to see that." "On the contrary," he laughs, bright and delighted almost. He seems happy that he's in this situation. You waved it around like a little flag impromptly. Quite hard to miss, my dear. You groan and bury your face in the shirt for a second. "Kill me." "Well, that could be arranged." "No, not literally," you cut him off. He chuckles again, softer this time. "Oh, very well, if you insist, my love." You peek at him over the collar, mortified. "Can you, I don't know, pretend you didn't see it?" "My dear," he coos, "I am many things." He spreads his arm grandly, but a liar is not one of them. "I'm afraid I very much did see your, His eyes flicker down to where you kicked at your thong. "Bold choice of attire." You cross your arms, the embarrassment starting to sharpen into defensive irritation. "What, underwear's against the rules now?" you question. "Not at all," Alastor's grin widens. "I simply didn't take you for the type who favors garments compromised of..." He pinches his fingers together, measuring an invisible string of fabric in the air. "Perhaps 3 molecules of fabric." You roll your eyes. "You're being very dramatic for someone who wears a bow tie in hell," you shot back. His laugh bursts out of him, loud and delighted. the radio on the nightstand echoing it faintly, half a second behind. "Touché," he chuckles. He steps around you, inspecting the room with idle curiosity. Your messy bed, your scattered clothes, a radio, the mug on the nightstand with a lipstick print on the rim. His presence warps the air. The light above buzzes a bit louder. Shadows stretch just a touch longer. You watch him, warily. "What did you even come in here for?" you question. "Why, to visit, of course," he says, offended in the most theatrical way possible. "Is it so unbelievable that I might wish to see one of my favorite little sinners," he corrects himself. "You phased into my room while I was doing laundry," you say, monotone. "Yes," he says, as that explained everything. Spontaneous. It keeps things fresh. You squint at him. "You sure it wasn't because you heard me singing along to that old radio station thing?" He pauses. You got him. "You knew I was here because of the music, didn't you?" You press on. "You turned in on the old station and you heard me butchering that old swing song and decided just to what? Beam in like some kind of demotic podcast?" Alastor's smile does a weird little twitch. It was a bit odd. "Well now, I might as well have stumbled across a charming little performance," he concedes. "I simply wanted to have a closer listen." You roll your eyes again. It seems like that's all you've been doing. You could have listened from outside the door," you protest. "And missed the visuals?" he says, delighted. "Perish the thought." You groan again, eyes darting involuntarily towards the edge of the bed, where that sliver of black fabric is just barely peeking from beneath the ruffle. He follows your gaze, of course he does. "Well," he drawls, "since the proverbial cat is out of the bag and the undergarments are out of the drawer, I must wonder." "Don't wonder," you warn. "For whom you were wearing such daring little pieces for, You sputter. "No one, it's just laundry." "My dear," he says, amused, "one does not wear that for just laundry." You snap. I like feeling cute even if nobody sees it." His smile flutters just a fraction. "That," he says softly, "is a sentiment I can absolutely understand." You blink a little bit, caught off guard. "Wait, really?" You raise an eyebrow. "You can?" "Of course." He straightens his tie, gaze shifting towards the window. "Presentation should be first and foremost to delight the performer." He taps his chest. "Every else's opinion is just merely background noise." You stare at him for a moment longer, like there's something about the way he says it. Light, but weird. "So you, don't plan on calling me a tramp for having a thong?" you ask, half joking, half bracing for the cruelty you expected. Alastor's head snaps back to you, eyes bright. "Absolutely not," he says, almost offended. "In fact," his grin returns, "I rather admire the audacity." You feel your face heat up again, but this time it's not entirely embarrassment. "It's not audacious, it's just underwear." "In a den of sinners who cling to shame like a lifeline," he counters. Choosing something that pleases you is more rebellious than you realize. You fidget under his gaze. You're weirdly supportive for someone who just teleported into my room on my underwear. He bows theatrically. "I contain multitudes." The radio clicks over to a new song, something slow and brassy. He taps his cane along with the rhythm and tilts his head. If it troubles you, I can offer a bargain of sorts. Your eyes narrow. Yeah, I don't trust you and your bargains. Nothing sinister, I assure you, he says lightly. You allow me to continue interrupting your impromptu concerts, and I will refrain from commenting on any and all scandalous garments I may or may not happen to glimpse at. You raise an eyebrow. You promise? He chuckles. On my honor as a gentleman, he says, placing a hand dramatically over his chest. No teasing, no remarks, not even a pun. You snort. A pun for you, Alastor. That is a bargain. He chuckles. Do we have an agreement? You glance back at the black sliver of fabric under your bed. Fine. Deal. Splendid. The lights brighten for a second as if the room itself approves. Then he adds almost offhandedly, for what it's worth, my dear. You look up. It suits you. The confidence, he says. Your heart does a little weird flip. I'm literally hiding behind a shirt, you correct him. And yet, he says, eyes gleaming, you're still here, not banishing me, not fleeing, merely flustered, he smiles. That is a kind of bravery, you know. You roll your eyes. You're absolutely impossible.